another episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. I am Ray Taylor, as always, joined by my buddy from Ohio, Keith Spurlock. What is up, Keith?
Not much, but as I listened to our intro right there, I don't know if I've just never been paying attention, but it sounds like you say Keith Spurlock, and it's Lock. It's Lock, L-O-C-K.
It could be just the fact, the audio's fucked up.
Yeah, your distortion has made it sound like not my name. And
that was on purpose.
That's misrepresenting who I am.
No, it's cool. I don't mind it. I'm sorry. I apologize that it offends you, Keith Spurlock, but...
Oh, shit.
But it's not about you right now. It's about our guest for today's episode. And our guest is somebody I'm sure a lot of our listeners are very familiar with on Twitter, on Instagram. He punches the
shit out of the ocean.
He is he beats the ocean up, but rides with it at the same time. He's the man, the mystery, the legend, the water boxer. What up, sir?
Hey, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be and an honor to be a guest on your fine cast. It really is. You guys. I really like what you guys have done with the. As an admirer from afar, I've actually been a podcast listener for many, many, many years. So I listen to everybody, but I really dig what you guys have done, on your own and built together this this audio-visual empire kind of. It's really beautiful. And one of the things I really dig about everybody I met on Twitter is all these beautiful creative voices that are just doing their thing and just expressing. And, man, there's nothing healthier than getting stuff out of your system. However you do it, you know what I mean? Whether you surf, whether you do martial arts, whether you create stuff, it's really good and healthy. And I love seeing it, and I love retweeting my friends' stuff.
Fuck yeah, man! Technology has changed how the ability for people to be creative and create stuff very easily, even as easily as just using Instagram with filters. It allows people that may never have gotten into photography ever in their entire life to explore that art form. And, and there's a lot of other art forms people have been able to explore, including new ones like podcasting.
Yeah, but Instagram, bad example, just because I'm mad at Instagram.
Oh, shit.
I'm mad at Instagram.
Instagram boxer in the house.
Now, why I'm mad at Instagram is because of all the filters. And these goddamn filters are hiding ugliness.
Exactly.
Around the world.
That's okay, Keith. If you're gonna get mad at filters, get mad at makeup, okay? Because that is also hiding ugliness all around the
makeup
world.
Because that's a real life. That's what my eyes are still seeing. But when you filter over with 20 different layers, and all of a sudden there aren't any more pop marks in your face, or your hair lip isn't that obvious.
So you're just angry at the catfish.
You see, now look at it this way, though. There's another way to look at it. And this is, Ray talked about technology. Dig this. Just like technology has made information available to everybody, not just people who can go to libraries or people who can afford libraries. Maybe technology has made beauty available to everybody. So even your average-looking girl can suddenly be hot. So now, I have a pretty good eye, so I could spot any picture that's been tweaked in any way. My dad was a big photographer. I spent a lot of time as his assistant for a good 15 years, and even in the analog days, you could see all the tricks. You know what I mean? My eyes spot stuff. So yeah, I see them. But let a girl feel beautiful. Let a man feel like he's an MMA fighter for a day. You know what I mean? Bless him.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's false advertisement.
You got to train your eye. I can spot that instantly, dude.
Well, I'm not a photography major.
Let me just point out.
I'm not trained, but it's just like those girls wearing those goddamn chicken cutlets.
Yeah,
to lift the tits up.
Okay.
Yeah,
we can all see.
If you take that girl home at the end of the night and you pull out a chicken cutlet, and instead of an actual boob. That's false advertisement, right?
Yeah. I clearly see where you're coming from, Keith. As a newly single man dealing with the internet from a different perspective, you're looking for chicks, and you're mad. You're mad at the fact that there's these women out there that claim to be as filtered and beautiful as Instagram makes them out to be, but when you meet them in person, you're not happy. You're not satisfied with the product. or the woman. I'm sorry, not
all,
the product.
all I'm saying is any shot that's shoulders and up. If you see a girl's Facebook or Twitter and every shot is them of shoulders up,
Yeah. Oh no, they're
there
masters.
is something wrong.
Oh yeah, mTOR, dude. You're on the market. That's part of, it's like the advertising for a car, dude, or anything. They're advertising. They're showing you their best features, and you're seeing the edited version, not the real
Yeah,
version.
but if you go to this place to buy a car and all the pictures you looked at on the internet were this nice ass car, and you get there and it's all beat to shit and fucked up, you're gonna be like, no, dude, I'm not gonna buy this fucking car.
Yeah, don't buy the chick either. You can just close the door.
Yeah, and you'll, and I could spot. Let me tell you, growing up in LA, what I spot, and I point out to my wife all the time, is bad cosmetic surgery, bad hair implants, and I dig this. The folks that get these things. Speaking of still images, let's don't talk about these young girls that tweak their pictures. Let's talk about these old ladies or older people that fuck themselves up. And what I think they see is themselves in a still shot, where their lips look just perfect and their frozen face looks rad, or their hair implants look just right. But in the real world, when you see these fake lips or these paralyzed faces, or let me tell you, these bad hair implants, bro. I'm not going to tell you. I go to a lot of shows live, and I see some. And when you see some of these bad ones under stage lights, bro, or just dudes, or just regular dudes, and it's like. And I don't know what they see when they see themselves in the mirror. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what's better, a bad hair implants or a bad toupee?
Oh, bro, that's a tough one. And dude, and one would think, these cats that are so caught up into their hair as their beauty or whatever. When I see dudes who have this, I actually think of them as kind of like so narcissistic and weak because they're so fixated on their hair. And I'm like, wow. Once I see that a bad rug or a bad weave, dudes have weaves too, or I see the bad Barbie doll hair, I'm like, whoa, you're insecure, bro. And you're showing me, you're wearing it on, you're showing me. And it's like, and in a man-to-man world, in some ways, I already have an advantage on you. Because
I work at a hair salon, so I see that day in, day out. But, I mean, if you would say that, you would have to say that all women are the same. Because
I'm talking about men, because I'm talking about how I value, if I'm man on man, I see you on the street.
Man on man?
We're just men, and I'm sizing you up. Everything's cool, and then suddenly I glance and I see this rug on your hair. I'm thinking, whoa, when you go home at night, you're probably so, when you look in the mirror, you're insecure.
You're
and,
a weak human.
Yeah, and you're carrying that, and you're showing me that.
Yeah.
So that's what I see as a man. I'm like, okay, bro. Now, if you're an actor and you need it for a part, fuck yeah, I understand that. That's performing. But if you're on the street just being you, okay, you're letting me know that you've gone to great lengths, and somehow you're associating that with beauty. Being younger or having hair does not make you beautiful or attractive. You feel me?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who are very unattractive who've gotten plastic surgery to look younger, and they think, look, I'm younger, aren't I better? And it's like, no, you're still ugly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your parents are still ugly, got their plastic surgery, and you got it, and you got hair implants. I know a guy around my age who got the works done, and then he's still a very average-looking guy with tighter skin and more hair, right?
Yeah.
But that's what he is, and how does he come across to me? A very insecure man who just can't deal with even mortality. If aging is aging's a beautiful thing. It's part of life. It's like, yeah, this is me dying, man.
That's the most terrifying part. I love the part of knowledge with age. I despise because I have my grandparents are all right around the age where they're all passing. And most of them have passed, and the next few of them are real close. That shit is terrifying, because what if you just forget who the fuck you are? And that shit happens.
Sure, all sorts of things can happen.
That's not beautiful. When
life itself is,
when you're
the journey
just
is,
a shell of yourself, and you don't even remember the people who are most important to you.
But you don't know what's going on internally with that person.
Yeah.
There may be some really badass memories. And you know what, though? The whole life, and we got to look at this, too, how Western medicine has prolonged the life cycle.
Yeah.
So a lot of these organic brain illnesses that are showing up today may have to do with the fact that people are living longer, and perhaps the hard drive was not meant to be efficient past 70 or 80 in many cases.
Yeah.
And that's one of the realities I think and you're seeing that. You're seeing growing numbers as the aging population grows. We're seeing larger numbers of this. So that's just a reality, I think, too. For me, that's one way to look at it with fear. Me being a lot older than you, that could happen. Then again, I could be eaten by a shark or hit by a car or live a long life. I'll take that. I'll take that risk. I know what your fears are, and that very well could be me. But you know what? I hope if I go into some sort of organic brain illness, what I remember is all the fun stuff. I remember Joey Diaz making me laugh my ass off. You know what I'm saying? I remember my son graduating college.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're going on hopes, I
live on hope.
Hope. It's hopes. It's still hopes. At the end of the day, it's still hopes.
Well, either way, we've never been through like that kind of we haven't been in that situation where we don't know who anybody is. Like we don't know what actually goes on. We don't know how the brain works. We don't know anything unless we've already experienced it. So everything else is just like, I've heard this or this is my experience with it. But if you can live your life and the things that you believe in and whatever make you a happier person and a better person, then fuck it,
go for it.
Yeah, but you could be like Keith and be super negative and pessimistic about things, and
that's just
but that's okay too.
I'm not being super negative. I'm just being real with what I believe.
Yeah. But it's people we're going off beliefs, so it's like we're not going off of this is what I know. I don't know.
But I'm saying what I know is that at least in my family history, getting old is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Because
but also
my bloodline doesn't deal with it well.
You think about it like maybe our brains start shutting down because we stop using them. Like our muscles will stop shutting down, they'll atrophy if we stop using them. So it's like you see these active people that are old or older or whatever, and that they're in fucking better shape than Keith and I. And it's so, but they just keep it going. So if you maybe engage your brain on a regular basis, whether it's creating something in a creative aspect or an educational aspect, just learning something new, in some way keeping it active, you're doing fucking lumosity or some shit.
Yeah, neuroplasticity is what they say. But no, I believe that. Exercising the brain, whether it's a new software program, learning a new skill set, anything new, anything that challenges the nervous system or the brain and fires it, I think can only help. I'm an advocate of that, Ray. I really do believe in and trying new things and going outside your comfort zone, and that for me keeps me kind of youthful and energetic and very positive. Always digging new things or doing things that challenge me, hey, I have fun with funny pictures, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have fun. I explore that. I learn to express it in a voice and have fun. And actually, it's a kind of a gift to friends more than anything else. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. My friends who do podcasts and things like that, whether they're famous or not, they're famous to me. But that's fun too. So I feel what you're feeling. There is this like, how's it going to end? But I enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you can fall when you're surfing, but if you're going to be so concerned about, oh fuck, if I crash on this wave, I could break my neck and I can never surf again, and I could, you know what I mean? You just got to be saying, I'm going to get that, I'm going to fucking ride it and then cruise it, and more than likely it's probably going to be a good glide, and I get off, I'm going to go back for more. You know?
But this conversation all started about actually getting old, like aging, your body aging.
Yeah.
As opposed to your mind.
Yeah.
It's I love knowledge with age, but the idea of looking like the 90-year-old people that I see come into the hair salon or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. That shit looks horrible.
Yeah. No, I believe
I don't give a fuck who says what. Like, when a guy's neck looks like it's broken over like an L or a 7.
Yeah.
And that's how he walks around, like that doesn't look appealing to me, whether he's got his faculties or not. Like,
and then you know what, and Keith, if you're thinking about longevity and health, I think we know things about nutrition and preventative medicine through diet and exercise that can increase your odds.
Yeah.
You know, not smoking, getting 3 to 5 hours of cardio a week, limiting your triglycerides, things like this.
Oh, all those things that I don't do.
Don't do, but and dig. I know that, but you're young, man. But hey, I dig that. Are you repping to Amsterdam right there? Shout out to Miss Cleo, and in the Netherlands.
I got this when I was over there.
Right on, man. Right on. That's back. I got a few of those shirts. That's badass, man. That's badass.
Actually, this is a European extra large.
Oh, I know, dude. They're
and I weigh 165 pounds right now. I'm 6 foot.
That's crazy,
bro. Hey, my dad goes to China all the time, and he gets me these. And I'm like a medium in anything American, and all these Chinese extra larges fit my wife. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, this is Chinese extra large. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my.
Our sizing system is so fucked.
Well,
like, everyone's like, I'm only an extra large. Like, no, you're like a 5X everywhere else.
Yeah. Fuck, even in the U.S., in the Midwest, they have larger sizes. Like an XL in, California is, a medium or whatever, or a large in the Midwest.
Yeah, I think that's probably perhaps.
Yeah, I know. I live here.
Yeah.
Not dissing. It.
No, I mean it's just.
No, it sucks. No, you please do.
There's a reason.
It's a shithole here.
There's a reason why. It's fucking. Well, first off, you want sizing in the kind of size range in that region.
People are fat as
fuck.
Yeah.
People come in scale.
Exactly.
No, they come in scale.
Yeah.
But that's based on the standard around them. You feel me?
Yeah. Well,
that's really what it is. Like, if you go, okay. If you're in West Hollywood and you're seeing a bunch of actresses, they're going to be so camera underweight that most dudes, at least there's not enough meat on them. They're going to look good on camera from the top up, but from behind, I mean, their legs are going to be too thin, their ass is going to be too thin. But on camera, we all know, anybody knows anything about, depth perception and stuff, what camera does,
It's 30 pounds,
it makes Ray look fat.
Yeah, I swear,
but
people.
Still underweight.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's not attractive to me. You know what I mean? If I, back in my single days, having my choice, I don't dig that. Do you know what I mean? But
toothpicks are not attractive.
But they can look very good on camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
And very good with clothes.
Yeah.
And but it's not in person. They don't look good on the beach.
Around here, I get criticized for being way too thin.
Oh,
and
dude!
I'm an average size person. Like, again, if I was in Europe, I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
Or here, dude, you would be. That's
I'm like people were like, oh, you're looking. I mean, granted, I was probably 30 pounds heavier at one point in my life, but I was a gym rat for a couple years. So I got real big, and then so everyone now is really like, "Oh, you're so skinny," and I'm like, "The fuck!" And it's always fat people.
Yeah,
I love how fat people always want to tell me how skinny I am.
Listen,
if I ran around telling people how fat they were, I'm an asshole.
Yeah,
but it's fine to tell me how skinny I am.
But I think the interesting point is regional scale, and that for here also too. I think because of the weather, people are going to be wearing less clothes more often. Say 9 to 10 months of the year, we're dealing with 70-degree weather. You're going to be wearing short sleeves and jeans or whatever. Girls going to be wearing dresses and shorts more often. That's one of the things. And then in Southern California, there is a beauty standard that's greater probably than Northern California. But
or Ohio.
Now, but I almost think it's like it's kind of funny if you ever put yourself in a competitive situation or a group of very good, talented people, that'll make you better. You kind of like feed off their energy, right? I believe this with kind of regional scale kind of happens. People just adapt to what's around them, you know, and the standards. I think it can be ridiculous, and I think if someone's just exercising to look good, they got it all wrong. Personally, that's
what I was doing it for, honestly.
Dude. Hey, you're a single dude, young dude, especially that.
Well, I mean, for 2 years straight, and it was it would have been like 3 years ago, so it would have been.
Not many people in their 20s.
4 years ago, I'd have been 29 4 years ago. So,
dude, I was doing the same thing. I was at Gold's Gym.
I did that, but it was like 5 days a week for an hour, an hour and a half a day.
Yeah,
sure.
When you're that age, that's what you do. You're not doing it for health reasons. It's not like you felt the days where you eat
smoking cigarettes on the way to the gym.
Yeah,
and then I go power lift my way through it.
Oh yeah. Well, bodybuilding isn't healthy. It'll make you look good. Doesn't mean you can run or do anything.
It killed all my joints. Like my shoulders and my elbows are fucked to this
Well,
day.
hey, dig this. I was at the Gracie Nationals, I think in January, and 10th Planet was there and stuff. And it was also a fitness convention. Bricks and Bullets was there, my wife, and a bunch of other Death Squad people, whatever. But the fitness convention had a bunch of bodybuilder dudes, right?
Yeah.
In their booths, and a bunch of bodybuilder guys. And there was a few booths, and obviously there's all these jiu-jitsu guys, and a few booths with like Team Punishment. And Herb Dean had a booth, and a few fighters. Just as an observer, I was looking around. I went there to get some pictures, 10th Planet, and walk around and stuff. And I started to observe the definition of masculinity for young men between the late teens and maybe early 30s. And you saw a lot of these bodybuilder guys who were juiced up, who, had an extra 80 to 100 pounds on them, that were exaggerated gorillas, but you saw these baby faces and these baby hands. And then you saw these fighters in Team Punishment, or these jiu-jitsu guys who were not impressive, but they could do shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what I was seeing, just me looking at it, is like, these are two different paths of masculinity. One with the impression of, hey, look how powerful I look. And the other, look what I can do, right? And but also, too, me, who's got kind of an extensive background in martial arts, looking at the bodybuilder guys, I look at their faces and their hands, and they're very soft.
Yeah.
You feel me? I'm not dissing bodybuilders. My friends are bodybuilders out there, too. But there is a softness to them, and also an incredible insecurity I started to feel.
Yeah.
Just as an observer. And I was
there's a giant thing with bodybuilders where I've even read articles, like, being a person who was into bodybuilding for a while, I would read the articles, and many of them acknowledge, they're like, we might look like the biggest, toughest hulks out there.
Yeah.
But if you ran into us on the actual day of the competition where these pictures are from,
yeah, they're fucking
they're
horrible. Yeah.
Jesus, they're about to die. They're seconds away from death.
It's like picking a fight with a fighter at the day of weigh-ins,
Yeah, exactly. It's very similar, very similar. But also, these are two different paths of male masculinity too. Without being critical, what I'm seeing is kind of
one's aesthetics, one's functionality.
Yeah.
And these are just men trying to find paths. I wasn't being negative. Like, I kind of diss the bodybuilders, but I really to be.
I diss it, and I used to do it.
But concluding, it's like, wow, these are men trying to find their way.
Yeah.
And along their way, and maybe around their mid-30s, they're going to find that. Do you know what I mean? And but these are, and neither way is wrong. But probably jiu-jitsu's healthier. You know what I mean? In some way.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm talking about the PEDs and stuff. I mean, we realistically,
Actually, I had a good friend who did bodybuilding competition, and I was his workout partner. But he was an all clean guy. Like he did it all clean. But here's the kicker: all the supplements that we were taking back then,
they're illegal now.
Are all legal now.
Yeah, that's how it works. And
because they were steroids, but I didn't know that.
Yeah. I will tell you, I spent a
they
long
weren't
time.
banned at all.
I spent a long time. I'm a real good observer, and I'm good at collecting information. So back in the, like, say, 80s and 90s, I spent a lot of time hanging out at Gold's Gym and saw a lot of famous people. But also, too, I got to really deeply understand the drug culture. And anybody who knows anything about bodybuilding and any sport that involves strength and speed, understand that they're just part of it, just like water is. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, people can say that's just
everyone knows that.
It is what it is, and it is what. And all the tests that are set up, even in the UFC, even in boxing, are set up just so they can say we're checking. They're just set up just to say, okay, we've checked you. But
the UFC just recently adopted that they were going to check every fighter. You know that they weren't checking every fighter before? I did not know that.
Oh no.
Yes. What I really think they need is.
I thought that they were at least checking everyone fundamentally through.
And it's only in certain areas too. Like, that's why Brazil, like, fucking what's his face has been huge.
Vitor?
Fucking no, yeah, Vitor, yeah. It's like, there's certain areas. It all depends on the commission of that state. So, like, Vegas is, I think, one of the more stricter states.
Now, I personally don't care what athletes do. I'll put that out there.
I don't care either. As long as it's like,
this. But if we're gonna say we're tested, what we could do is do VADA testing. This is what's done in for the Olympics do a similar kind of testing. This is random 365-day testing. Any UFC, I argue, if we want to be real PED free, any athlete under UFC contract will sign up for this 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They could be tested at random.
Yeah.
And you do that, you'll have a clean sport. Unfortunately, the physiques won't be as powerful anymore. People have to realize that. The look will be different, and it may not play as well.
The longevity of your career will be different.
I would love
These are realities,
yeah.
and I'm not dissing anybody. I'm not dissing any athletes. Please know that. These are realities, and the science is out there, and the testing is out there. VADA actually has a Twitter account I follow, because I like, if we're going to be honest, but we could just be dishonest, because I really don't care what athletes do to perform. You know, they got a short window of time to perform, and it's not such a moral issue. Somehow in the war on drugs, these got grouped in, and athletes.
Steroids were legal until '92.
Yeah.
But then there's always something new too, you know?
Oh, exactly.
Like they're always finding something new that used to be in GNC.
One molecule.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not even that.
Molecule.
You know, like they found like the, you know, blood doping and like all these other different things that help in other ways other than recovery, you know, just in, you know, but
absolutely.
I would recommend it's technology. It's all technology. You know,
I would recommend a book or an audiobook to anybody, or it's called The Secret Race by Tyler Hamilton. This was Lance Armstrong's training partner. Okay. Now, this book was released before all the dirt on Lance came out, and Lance was stripped of everything. This breaks down how they cheated and how to avoid cheating. Yeah. It's very interesting. It's an audiobook. Even for novices who are interested, it's a good audiobook, and it's heartfelt from this guy. Very heartfelt in his own voice if you listen to the audiobook or read it.
Or watch the documentary Bigger, Faster, Stronger on Netflix.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
It's a staple. Like, it really shows you, like, listen, steroids are prescribed to people everywhere who are sick. But if you're a healthy person and you take them, you're somehow destroying your body.
Yeah. Oh, but look on TV, everyone, low T, come on, dude.
Yeah.
All right, let me tell you.
Joey was on it for a while.
And he's off it. He didn't need it. You know, I told him personally.
He got off it, but Joe's still on it.
Well, that's his choice. That's it. That's his choice. Yeah. Why? Makes you feel good. Now, I really think that's people are always fighting big pharma. This is big pharma. You feel me? Okay. So it is what it is. Now, if a man takes testosterone, will he feel like a motherfucker? Yeah. All right. You know, is it probably good for you? It may, you know. Is it needed by all these guys who are average men? Now, will I say Joe is an above average man? Yeah. Does he put his body through a lot of stress? Yeah. Yes. And does he train like a motherfucker? Yes. I know people who train with him. He's a savage.
Dude, if you just look at him.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so he, you know. So what he does is what he does. Yeah. I won't ever diss him, man. He's a good man. But does your average man who's sitting at home at a desk, who's a businessman like me, but I'm an active businessman. I've had my, you know, I'm 50 years old. I've had my testosterone checked. It's above average. I don't need shit. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I eat good. I train good. The only PED for me is cannabis. Honestly, cannabis, coffee, and Rockstar water, man. That's my lifestyle, though. Again, I'm not going to criticize it. I don't think most men need it who aren't, you know, they don't. But if they do take it, they'll perform better.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 100%. putting a great engine in a shitty car. Like in some instances, if you're not like building up everything else, then what's the point? You know.
And it's not. It won't make someone who's not a talented athlete better. It'll maybe make someone train a little better or harder. Yeah. But it can't make you surf. Can't make you strike any faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's one thing that I'm going through though. I've had like 10 concussions at least. So concussions can shut off the testosterone in your body. Like you get your bell rung enough and that shit shuts off.
I know Joe's a big advocate of some of those anecdotal studies.
I mean, you could always just go get tested. I mean, dude, you have to pay for it.
But dude, you can also just go on Craigslist, get some fucking testosterone, see how you feel. I mean, I don't. If you don't think it's a moral issue, like if you wanted to get cannabis, I'd say get cannabis. If you're not my son, but if you're an adult and you're my son, you came to me. Well, do your science. You know, get your prostate checked, get your blood work done, make sure your liver's in good shape. Do all that stuff ahead of time, and you can Either get it legally through a doctor or go to the underground, but do it scientifically. Then every 2 weeks, check your liver function. Do you know what I'm saying? Check there's a lot of ways. There's a way to do it where, I mean, honestly, you could do it and you could do it safely. You'll get jacked. You'll put on size. You'll retain fluid. You could get more aggressive. You'll have a hard on all the time.
And you have to like actually get out of the chair every once in a while.
You got to do something with it, because I'll tell you, I know cats that have done testosterone that just got fatter because they just sat on their ass. I'm gonna take, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm gonna do it, or a lot of guys who have HIV get testosterone and various things. I know some cats who did it to help themselves, and they found all it did was make them fatter. And being very image conscious, this friend of mine was like, "Bro, I don't want to do this. I don't look hot anymore. You know what I mean? I look too puffy." So it's used, and there's a glut of it on the market. If that's, do you need it? No, probably not. But if you want to, you go about it scientifically. And
I mean, your body's a fucking system. So it's like just boosting one aspect of the system may not necessarily produce the end point you want. Like it could just fuck everything up if you do it wrong.
Understanding the endocrine system too is what he's talking about, and there's a lot of things like luteinizing hormone and all this other stuff that are factors that go on. Not like I'm an expert, but I will tell you, because I spent a little time researching it when I was at like Gold's talking to these juice heads, I learned a lot from them. Do you know what I mean? I understood some of the science, and they told me what the fuck they did. I got some colorful stories from that era. Here's a funny story, and this goes down in bodybuilding legend. There was a woman, a tiny little blonde from Israel, and she didn't pay her steroid dealer. So the next batch of steroids she got were the kinds that were virilizing. So now there are different categories that won't virilize women, essentially give them masculine characteristics.
Okay.
And this guy gave her something that turned her voice from a soft voice to like 8 octaves lower than mine. And she always talks like, and a little tiny blonde who was cute as hell. It's part of LA in bodybuilding lore. It is also a dirty world, and these are also dirty drug dealers too, and but also good people too. So I don't want to only talk about that, but Bigger, Stronger, Faster, great movie. And believe it or not, the wrestling sequence were filmed in a gym I used to coach in called OC Dojo. If anyone, shout out to them. They're now closed.
LA. Oh, well.
That was a small little irony, But hey, Ray, I see we've trimmed the beard. You were reaching Ivan the Terrible proportions there for a while. I thought you were going to go.
I was just gonna keep growing it until I felt like not growing it anymore, and we had like that one hot week, a month, whenever it was, I fucking trimmed it, and it was like 100 degrees at my place. So I was like, you know what? I'm annoyed by this thing growing off my face, and it's getting hot, so I just fucking trimmed it off. Reset. We'll see. Everything's growing back at the moment, so I don't know. I don't really care I'm not too particular with my hair or my facial hair. So, I just kind of reset every once in a while whenever it gets annoying. It's just one of those things I don't really care. Like, I'm the opposite of a chick that gets, like, lip implants and fucking butt implants and stretch their face so it looks like they're fucking got 2 pins behind their ears holding all their skin back. I don't really give a shit. So I just kind of roll with what I got. But, that's the thing is with what we were talking about is, for me, in like my 20s and shit, I wanted to lose weight to look good. I wanted to work out to look good. But now I don't really care. Like I wouldn't mind looking better, but at the same time, I'd rather just be healthier. So like eating healthier and starting to get, work out again, just trying to get everything else kind of just, it feels better to be in shape. It feels better when you eat good, like eating good food for a regular amount of time, and then all of a sudden you have like a cheat day or you eat junk food. You really see what that shit does to your body, and you really see why so many people have shitty attitudes, why they're addicted to the shit. I mean, it's insane when you get that perspective. But I don't really care. Like, I'm single right now, and I'm not really looking for somebody. But at the same time, I have a lot of other shit to put my energy towards than to just look good.
Yeah, and just moving. See, I'm an advocate of just moving the blood.
Yeah.
Right. I was talking to Lee Syat for about 30 minutes the other day about Lee. It seems like such a big chunk to bite off for him. And I'm like, no, Lee. It's about what I do is just a little bit often.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like if you could just do 10 minutes a day and not make it such a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
I will tell you it works.
Just
as someone
get in the routine. Just get in the routine of doing something new.
And
That's the most important
thing. This is the thing.
Yeah.
Make your weekends. Just do 10 minutes of like a little yoga every day or something, a little stretching.
Yeah.
Just as a routine, same time. That's where it really benefits. It benefits because you can just unplug from the digital world, right?
Yeah.
Or when I go surf, dude, everything is turned off because all I hear is water and wind, right? There's or running. I've had a knee injury for a few weeks. I haven't been able to run for 3 weeks and it drives me crazy. I mean, I deal with it, but it's like not having that outlet. But having a man finding that, or man or woman, I can only speak for men, but having that outlet to channel that energy and not making this, because I want to look good because when I go to wherever, chicks are going to chase me. That motivation will fail. As I was telling Lee, if your goal is narcissistic with your exercise, always will fail. Always. But if it's like health and I want to start feeling better, well, what's going to happen is your physique will over time reflect that health. But that health is going to come from the inside first. It'll come from your attitude and being irie, because that's the benefit I get is I have a different outlook on things, if you feel me.
Yeah, but you can't say that if it's always cosmetic that it will always fail, because there is
Yes, I can.
professional bodybuilders.
Yeah, but at some point they stop becoming professional bodybuilders.
But I mean, everyone stops. They can still live. Arnold Schwarzenegger's still alive.
Yeah, but I'm sure he does it for different reasons now.
Yeah. You're trying to find the exception to what I think is the rule.
Well, no, I agree that in the most part you're right, but you can't say absolutely that.
You know what? In my life,
because people have made a complete career and lived a long life, and
but that's
there's a narcissistic exception that maybe your fitness chick or whatever, But hey, let me tell you this: most of the fitness chicks are on Winstrol. They're on Stanozol. Just so you know, a lot of those chicks are on a lot of shit. But I just think your average human
in the professional bodybuilding world is on something.
But I will say though, you make that your motivation though, and not narcissism. You make it, and also you start to get the spiritual and psychological benefits. Then, at least for me, and I found this in I started training in 1978. I got my first set of weights. Then the other stuff comes along. I really think, and that's just my belief in what's happened with me, and I think then positive things get attracted to you too when you got positive energy, and then the appearance thing, if you're young and single, it does matter. As a man, you want to be as fly as possible, But dude, if you're one of these shallow motherfuckers, listen, I grew up in LA. I am not impressed with shallow motherfuckers that are, out to be movie stars. Fuck them all. Honestly, it's funny. I'm creating a song list for Danny Pin Radio, Fizz Button, and a couple of the songs I picked. I know Ray likes No Effects, but some of the songs I picked were cynical songs about LA, like X Los Angeles and No Effects LA, which are worth listening to, anybody who because there's a lot of phoniness here. Yeah. That's all I'll say. A lot of phoniness here, and that fake image. So I hate to see people caught up in that, because that usually fails. But if you get into something, and not too hard. I think everyone exercises too much at first.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
I think for the long game, like if you want to be a healthy motherfucker for a long time, then you're not getting into it to look good. Because at some point you're going to lose the motivation. You're going to
land that chick or that dude or whatever your thing is, or that job or that part, and it's like, oh, okay.
You get lazy.
And I will tell you too. I just saw Sylvester Stallone on an interview for a guy named, I think his name's Robert Milius, the guy who wrote Apocalypse Now and Dirty Harry, and but I saw him it's on Netflix. It's worth watching. Guy's a rebel, but he looks ridiculous at 67, completely juiced out and HGA'd out. And man, I was like, man, you would look okay as an older man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you look ridiculous in your skin tight shirt and your giant veins. That maybe that's successful, but that a man of 67 could still look handsome, and he doesn't have to look like Rocky.
Yeah. I saw him personally 2 years ago, and it's a mess. It's
now, how small was he to you? Now, dig this.
I'm 6'1" on a good day. He's 5'8".
No, 5'4", dude. Okay, Joe was saying the other day. Dude. Malibu Gym, dude. I saw him Malibu Gym.
He's not that tiny.
Malibu Gym. Okay, and I'm not. Ray, see me. I'm not that tall. Yeah. 5'8", 5'9". And I'm usually barefoot or in sandals.
He might have been in lifts.
He's in lifts. In dress shoes, he's in lifts that make him look 3 inches taller. I saw him come out of Malibu Gym, right? He was Prince Petite. Okay? Minus the muscles. Prince is petite. Have you ever seen Prince? Prince is a heterosexual motherfucker that gets nails women. He's a petite man if you ever see him.
Yeah.
Sly, in that era, and we'll say about 1990, 1991, but I would say, honestly, when you saw this dude, and I'm not a big dude, that's a petite dude. This is a dude that just in sneakers coming out of the gym. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Just my opinion, It.
Yeah, I think most of the people that I've seen that are in movies and shit, like they always are smaller. I mean, it's the same thing like how chicks try to get 20 pounds thinner to look better on camera. It's like you also look better if you're just tiny in general.
That's why dicks look bigger in porn.
That's why I'm so optimistic about my dick size.
Hey, but also dig this too. The guys who were in drama in high school, these weren't necessarily the basketball players and the football players.
Yeah.
These were the guys that were the artists that were 5'6" and 5'8". You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was in the drama club, asshole. And
I'm not saying it's. Yeah, but I'm just saying. But I'm just saying these are also the artists that that can play heroic figures. But if you know what I mean. So it's sometimes there's a lot of reasons. Like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Petite.
Yeah.
Petite dude.
I mean, that's why you didn't succeed, Keith, in acting, because you're too tall. You're
tall.
too tall for acting. I was too tall when I tried out for
I was too
basketball.
too athletic. Sorry.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out.
I should have tried out for that. You should have tried out for basketball, and then we both would have had different lives right now. We wouldn't be doing the show.
During hockey season, and I considered all basketball players pussies.
Oh, well, you're allowed to be wrong every once in a while. So
all right. Well, if you want to take the toughness of a hockey player versus the toughness of a basketball player.
Okay, compared those two sports, but let's just say basketball players.
That's the comparison.
Okay.
Well, I say anything that involves grace. Hockey players are graceful motherfuckers and powerful. To be able to balance on ice and still do a maneuver.
Yeah.
Anything that involves grace, people don't realize. It doesn't look really. I'm not going to knock basketball players. That I think honestly you need a home for 7-foot people, just like fashion. Honestly, dig this. I have this theory. I brought this up on the Stadcast though.
Yeah.
Listen, you need a home for everybody in society, right?
True.
Now,
Yeah.
For fashion models, what else would you do with 6'2" gangly girls? We've created a place, right, and society for men that are giants, right? NFL. Listen, if we didn't have the NFL, we would have all these aggressive, gigantic alpha dogs running shit. Look at the NFL. Use them up for 3 to 5 years. Return them to society broken.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
I'm not. Yeah, just a thought though. But
as an example, I come from a village where football is the shit. Like Ohio football is a big thing. Like Texas and Ohio are two of the biggest states for football. And but our village, the last time we won the state championship was like 78. So they're really holding on to the past. And no one's ever really made it from my town. Like, not to the NFL or anything. There was this one kid. He was like 6'6", 200 some pounds. He wasn't even that great in high school. But just because of his size, he got a scholarship.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just finding a place for these giant kids.
That's part of it. They are looking for a big body, though. A big body with speed.
Yeah, it's like this kid's semi-athletic, and he's a giant. We have to pick him up.
That's part of it, man. You're looking for that, and it is being. You need scale. Speaking of scale again,
Yeah.
you feel me? You're so. But there is a place for everybody. That's why artists don't be any size. You know what I mean? And surfers, quite honest, you can't be too big if you're surfing or doing a lot of sports. And we've seen in the UFC, big giant muscles.
Yeah, but you could be like
Kelly Slater is not that big of a dude.
You could be
No.
a big
5'8",
Samoan
5'8".
riding a longboard in Hawaii on little tiny waves. You could be that for surfing. Big Samoan with a longboard.
Oh yeah, dude. No. So there's some big ones.
You're not going to be like fucking winning any fucking trophies, but maybe some longboard trophies, but
you do it with style, man.
Yeah, that's I mean that in surfing, longboard is kind of the slower. It's the more, it's something that I don't know. It's like painting with broad strokes versus
it is.
It is.
It's a smoother thing, and
yeah.
Since we're talking about surfing, when I'm on a podcast, I like to tell everybody, spring and summer's coming. Try stand-up paddleboarding.
Yeah.
Okay, not everyone needs to surf. You can find a lake or a body of water where you can rent them. Consider this for cross training. You're bored, try something new. Try it in a lake, try it in an ocean. If you've surfed before, you could surf them. It's fun. You could do longboard tricks. You could do radical surf things. You could cruise. It's great cardio. I've been an advocate to try for martial artists to come over and add this to their training. And fortunately, some of the best 10th Planet folks recently have gone with me. Shout out to Chai and Curtis, guys, friends of Eddie Bravo Radio, and some of Eddie's best students over at 10th Planet. They're the first of many, but bringing good athletes in. Let me tell you, these cats were studs too. Because they're fearless, they were able to do shit that your average person couldn't do.
Yeah.
They were able to go out in crazy rough water and surf the first day. Not everyone could do that, but anybody doing anything, dig this. Try it. Hit me up on Twitter. I'll give you free advice. I'll tell you where to rent a board, if you're going to buy a board, how to save your money, and get the right size. There's a lot of things that are involved. It's very expensive to buy, so I say rent.
And for those that don't know what paddleboarding is, it's like you're standing on a giant longboard in calm water. You're not necessarily riding waves, and then you have like an oar. You have paddles.
Right. You have a paddle. You got a paddle,
and you're standing up.
Big long. It's like a longboard.
Yeah.
They come in various sizes.
Yeah.
I've got them in from 12.6 to 7 foot, and you're cruising. You're propelling yourself, kind of like a stand-up kayak. If you haven't seen that, and then if you get more advanced, you can do all sorts of things. You can cruise out in the middle of the ocean. I see dolphin and whales all the time. Okay, at least I see a pod of dolphin 2 blocks from my house at least 150 days a year. No joke. I'm not. It's so common, right? So you can go out. You can have these adventures. Pardon?
Do you feel like you could potentially get raped at any time then?
No, Brian. Oh, Brian. Oh, Brian.
No, all I'm saying is dolphins rape, and that's a real thing. You could get knocked off the board and then fucked to death by dolphins.
That's one way to look at it. See, for me, I'm in this. I'm
Would
there.
You be
Don't fall down.
Yeah. Well, first, I've got an 80-inch carbon fiber paddle to protect me. But no, these interacting with them is super cool. And when you see a bunch and you just lay on your board and put your hand in the water, and they'll kind of graze you, or their blowholes will just blow right by you. It's a beautiful thing when you can see the little babies. So paddleboarding can take you places where you can't get.
Fuck yeah, man.
So you get all these other rewards, and it's badass exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, it develops grace, strength, core, and most important, a calm state of mind.
Yeah.
Because to do it, you have to be relaxed and focused, and you have to check everything else that's going on in your life out. Right. So it does what martial arts do. It does what yoga does. It does what meditation does. Gotta focus, right? And it's going to give you, those are the benefits I get. This is why I'm so stoked all the time, right? I get that from it. I get this energy back from it, and am I in decent physical condition from it too? Yeah, that too probably. But for me, I like the challenge of it, and I like being able to just go out in rough water or calm water, or hey, when it's beautiful and just sunny.
Yeah.
And I said the most important thing is turning off everything.
Yeah.
Like you guys, I live in the digital world for work. 10 hours in front of a computer a day, right? Plus tweeting and all this other bullshit. To be able to turn everything off and be completely physical, and it's just me out there.
Yeah.
The only person getting me back is me. I'm completely beholden to the elements.
How long are you usually going out for?
1 to 3 hours. Do you know what I mean? I think for most people, just, you know what, for starters, 20 minutes is all you need.
Yeah. And you go early, right? You go early in the morning, right?
Yeah, I like to go. Like tomorrow, I'm probably going to go at 7, and it all depends on weather and when the sun is rising. There's so many elements, and the thing that's very cool about it is, it puts you in touch with the earth more than anything else, because before you go, you gotta like, what's the weather forecast? What does it feel like? What's the wind? Let me check in online. What's the tide? What's the wind direction? What are the waves? And it's very interesting, but the information from nature I have to take in, and you can't just go to the gym.
Yeah. You've
got to consider all these things, and it is kind of beautiful though, because you end up, you are participating with nature, if you feel me.
For sure.
It may sound corny, but for me it's not.
You're dealing with weather, you're dealing with wind, you're dealing with the ocean conditions, whether it's glassy or choppy, you're dealing with tides, you're dealing with a lot of shit that's like just standing on a board. So all this awareness of nature. Yeah.
This is the thing that's like, whoa, I've got to be aware of all this. And that ends up being super cool, though, because I end up getting really tuned into it. Even when I get up in the morning, and I get up really early because I do marketing for a company back east. So at 4 o'clock, I'm cranking out work. But I could feel the air and already get a feel without the digital information, from the internet. Okay, what's it going to feel like? And that's really cool, and I've kind of I've really improved these skills too. And I think that kind of, I don't know, it probably makes me kind of who I am.
I've known a lot of old surfers, but it's like you look at the old guys that go out and surf, like old guys, in their 60s or 70s or whatever, and they're like going back to what we were talking about, just being fit and just being mentally fit. Like, because they have to deal with all the, especially surfing, when you're like actually riding the ocean, where there's a huge portion of what you're doing that you have zero control over. Mm-hmm. So you're just trying to adapt what you're doing to what the fuck is existing around you. And with those guys, it's like they're on, they're great shape, they're healthy, they're, mentally healthy. I really haven't come across, not that I've really done studies on this, but it's a rare thing to find an old guy that surfs that's not doing too well.
And it's interesting catching that ride. It's so fleeting and temporary, but the joy after you've caught something, no matter what you do on it, it doesn't always have to be stylish, right? Just getting it, the glee you feel when you get that, because you got to time a lot of things with all these elements. That joy, you feel like you're 5 years old.
Yeah,
you can't. It's so now. Not everyone can surf these things, but everybody within 10 minutes can do stand-up and just cruise. Everybody consider it. Hey, if I die tomorrow, I just want to be remembered, as my son's father, my wife's husband, and the guy who really promoted stand-up paddleboarding for free to everybody. And maybe for me, hey, I want to get the elite folks from 10th Planet and every martial arts school in my neighborhood, all their best guys on boards with me this summer.
That'd
for free,
awesome, man.
Just because I love it and I want them to feel, because there's a similarity, and if you got that same mindset, you'll take to it easy. Or a lot of guys who are land animals and are great fighters, or whatever they are, great tennis players, put them outside their element like the water, and then suddenly they've got to confront a new fear.
And doing shit in the water is like doing shit with kettlebells. Like, it uses muscles that you're using muscle groups more than anything, especially standing on a fucking board like that.
Standing, balancing, digging. You're doing everything.
And it's low impact too.
Yeah. Now, is it going to give you a body that looks like Arnold? No. But that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's going to make you strong as a motherfucker, though. And probably make you feel real good. That's the thing. Like, you like say, Keith, if you can get out, find a body of water on a warm day, start early when the wind doesn't kick up too much, and just go cruise for a half hour. Put on some headphones. If you get good, you won't fall. Put on some headphones, cruise for a while. When I'm just cruising, I don't fall. I'm like Jake LaMotta. I always say I'm not going down. If you know Raging Bull,
Yeah, man.
I when I surf, I go down and I do it with glee. But when I'm cruising, I don't care what. I really have a mindset. I won't be knocked down. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's a big. I haven't been knocked down yet. When I'm just cruising. At least recently. I don't want to. Let me knock some wood. But it's fun and challenging, and anyone can do it. And the great thing is, it does not stress your joints.
Yeah.
Right. Like most every other cardio activity is going to do. It probably could stress you if you've got any sort of injury, And for me, I took to it in 2003 after a horrible knee injury in Muay Thai, and I thought I'd never surf again. Thought it was over for me.
Yeah.
And stand up had just come over to San Clemente from Hawaii right at that time, and I was living in San Clemente then, and it saved me. You know what I mean? And it helped me heal and it helped me develop strength, and it did a lot of things for me. So, yeah, I dig it. I don't want to make it a commercial for SUP, but I want everyone to consider it, man, because it's rad. And anybody in the LA area, any Saturday morning, hit me up, South Bay. You know how to get me if you're serious. Have you know how to swim?
Have you had many people hit you up? Because I know you
Sure.
offer that like almost every time I hear you.
I do. I've had about, of course, Roy Dizzle, who's my friend. He's been out a few times,
Nice.
and maybe about just from Twitter, maybe about 10 people.
Okay, that's awesome.
And for the 24-hour podcast, I had offered, and no one took me up on it.
Okay.
But for the price of admission to SeaWorld, and this still is in effect, if anyone wants to donate to Yuck Nasty's 24-hour relief fund, the price of admission at SeaWorld is $79 for the adult admission. There's someone out there listening that wants to help out a friend that went through some tragedy. You donate that, prove to me you donated that, and I'll take you out paddling for a Saturday morning, right? We may encounter dolphins. I can't promise it, but the odds are fairly good. We've got about a 50% chance of seeing them. But you donate $79 to that, I'll take you out. You're going to get a paddleboarding lesson, and if you're willing to break the waves and get out there, because it takes a certain amount of chutzpah to be able to do it. You got to break the surf, get out there where the dolphins live, right? And you got to have that skill set and that ability to swim and a wetsuit. But if you got that, come to South Bay, LA any Saturday. I'll honor that. And or if you're just a friend, you're one of my friends on Twitter, and you want to learn, you're in the area. For example, speaking of friends on Twitter, our dear friend Cleo, Talk to Cleo, is coming out from the Netherlands. Coming out right around April 28th to kick off her week here, which we started a fun little party called Plan B, which and in Death Squad we're just trying to trying to organize things a little bit. And when friends come, like Cleo's coming all the way from the Netherlands, we've started this Plan B Death Squad project, which is just a week of a party here in LA. And anybody listening is invited. Of course, Ray, we'd love to see you here. And the party's going to kick off Wednesday the 30th at the Ice House with the Church of What's Happening Now with Joey Diaz and Lee Sayette. Cleo will be here. Stan the Devil will be out later in the week. Joey will have a real special guest. I can't say who it is, but you guys will be pretty impressed.
Nice.
It's going to start there. I think we'll have about probably 20 Death Squad soldiers and 10th Planet soldiers out there for that. Anybody interested coming out that week? It starts on the 30th, the Church of What's Happening Now, and it's going to continue through the weekend, all right? Tuesday, the 29th, is going to be Cleo's first paddleboarding lesson, but that Saturday, the 3rd, is going to be a day at the beach for the Death Squad, right?
Okay.
Anybody who's down, get to my beach early. We're going to chill. We're just going to have an it doesn't always have to be comedy and MMA shows, right?
Yeah.
It could be other stuff. So we're so that Friday night, the 2nd, we're probably going to go to the Comedy Store, make some arrangements. Someone badass is going to be there. I already know. Anybody listening, Comedy Store, Friday night, the 2nd, join us, please. Saturday, the 3rd, a beach party for Death Squad folks.
That's cool.
Feel me? We're all going to get together on a Saturday and learn to paddleboard if you want. I'm going to bring 3 boards. Everybody gets a free lesson from me, and hang out. It's a public beach. $1 parking for an hour. Cabrillo Beach, San Pedro, California. Everybody's invited. Hit me up on Twitter if you're interested. I don't know how many people are going to be there. It doesn't matter. Sometimes these events we have 6 people. Sometimes we have 30. I don't know. But that's what's coming up in the near future. The Church of What's Happening Now on the 30th, and that whole week is the whole Plan B week for Death Squad. Anybody listening, even if you don't ID yourself as Death Squad, you could be my friends. It doesn't. You don't all have to claim that. But that's coming up, as well as the Church of What's Happening Now. And on June 1st, Eddie Bravo is doing the Eddie Bravo Invitational, and that's worth looking at. Anybody, it's going to be on television. And let me just look up give me just a second. Sorry, I have to look up that's going to be on television on June 1st.
And that's a jiu-jitsu, is that like a tournament?
It's going to be, it's a jiu-jitsu tournament. It's Sunday, June 1st. It's going to be at Florentine Gardens in Hollywood. Submission only, 16-man tournament. It's going to be on Spanish TVs. Okay. I'm not sure which stations yet. That's all being worked out, but that's Sunday, June 1st. There may be tickets to attend. If anyone wants to see live jiu-jitsu, submission-only jiu-jitsu, it's the best kind of jiu-jitsu to see, okay? Yeah. All kind of jiu-jitsu is super cool. I'm not going to diss any schools, but many jiu-jitsu tournaments that are not submission-only are all kind of about points and moves, and for people who are not practitioners or real deep into it, it could be really boring to watch. Submission only means both guys aren't working for points. They're working to submit that guy and end it, and there's a time limit.
Yeah.
So both the guys are going to take risks, and it's going to be aggressive, and it's exciting jiu-jitsu. The only problem I will say about jiu-jitsu coverage on TV, like with Metamoris, which I was at, Skycam. They need an overhead camera. Yeah. Like they do have in football, like the Skycam. And if they're not doing it here at this upcoming production, I'm going to suggest it. It's very essential to see an overhead view like we do in the UFC and other events.
Yeah.
And at Metamoris lacked that, and that's my only criticism. So that's coming up.
Is this a different organization? Is this just Eddie Bravo putting this on?
Yes, this is Eddie Bravo production.
Okay.
Yes,
awesome.
Eddie and 10th Planet are exploding everybody. Yeah. And hey, all respect to the Gracies and anybody who was at Metamoris or paid attention to what Eddie said at Metamoris. After the match ended, Eddie's speech was actually very touching. He went on to thank Jean-Jacques Machado as his master, and then point out that Jean-Jacques was a Gracie, therefore he was a Gracie.
Yeah.
And it was so powerful and unifying in this room where it was 50-50 split between Gracies and 10th Planet. It was really beautiful. Whatever controversy was said afterwards, I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, and that's, if I was writing that story, that's what I remember about the event. It was really quite beautiful. Oh, and hey, a couple other things coming up. Hey, recently, through some of friends of mine, Curtis Hembroff, follow him on Twitter. He's a good cat. He's also 10th Planet Savage, who's doing paddleboarding with me. Smack bars. Anybody interested in edibles? Smack bars are worth considering. In California, Colorado, and Washington, this is a legal product. Depending on your state outside of there, I don't know. Worth considering, though. They've been kind enough to give me a few cases of their product to evaluate. And I do take valuations, everybody. It's very interesting. Right now, I'm using a new Nikon. Thank you, Nikon USA. I really like this model. But if you do edibles and you like them and utilize them, consider the Smack Bar.
So what is the Smack Bar?
Okay, they have 3 different products. I'm glad you asked. They have a hash oil chocolate bar, which is pretty good. Okay, it's pretty good. I would probably equate it to maybe a Hubby bar.
Chocolate bar in what size? Like Snicker bar size or like Tootsie Roll size?
No, Snicker bar size, but flat. I would say maybe like a, kind of a condensed Mr. Good bar. Okay. It's good, but they have a lollipop right now. Eddie Bravo, if anyone listened to the Eddie Bravo radio episode I did not long ago with Oliver Stone's son on it, he had the lollipop and he dreamed of purple gorillas, right?
Okay.
Now, I had the lollipop and me and some 10th Planet Savages, we like to do edibles and surf and do shit, right? I like the lollipop. It was cool. They have these, it's nice. I don't know what they go for. They also have these little 3 hard candies. Mm-hmm. That's what I like. The chocolate is too heavy because when I take an edible, I do stuff. I do art. I do paddleboarding. I train, right? I like to do stuff. I don't like to sit around. The hard candies are very nice. Mm-hmm. You can moderate the dose. Could be not, because taking too much, it can ruin the whole effect. I think taking just enough to enhance, to feel it and not be knocked out. So I like to take one of the hard candies.
Yeah.
And then go do something. Then go surf. So they're nice. average street prices.
I mean,
the lollipop is convenient. I actually think that edibles that are in the form of either the gummy or these hard candies, they absorb quicker and they leave your body quicker. The ones that are in like the Chiba Chew, I'm friends with Chiba Chews. They're real great. But the ones that are kind of more oil, or it's bound to more of a fat, those take longer to absorb and stay in your system longer.
From what I've heard of people's just on that same point, that some people don't even feel the effects of the glycerin one, I think, is in like the hard candies versus the one that's in like the the fats, like the baked goods. Correct. Where baked goods affect them, and then the hard candies, they don't really feel anything. So I think it also, it all depends on your metabolism and just how your body processes shit anyway. Too.
I found that women are more sensitive to edibles than men, generally, and then some men don't even feel them. Some, no matter what their size, maybe they don't have the receptors.
Yeah,
I know some guys that'll eat a brownie that would sedate me. That are like, huh? I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
So it is. Yeah, I think they're. So, but I like these. They're good. They were kind enough to give me. I like companies. Chiba Chew's been very cool with me too. When they have a new product out, they're like, okay, we'll put our money where our mouth is, and we'll give it to someone. And I'll tweet about it if I like it. And if I hate it, I'm not going to tweet about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're good. It's a friend's company, and I like it. Now, I think the perfect, if you do like the gummies, the Green Hornet is perfect, like as a PED, because it's not too strong. You can break it in half, and it absorbs really quick. The gummy form is probably right now my personal favorite of a method of distribution in edibles. So yeah, and hey, something coming up for those who can't make our Plan B thing. Rumor has it that the powerful Queen Jill Himitsu is going to be coming to LA this fall. So just as Plan B winds down, we're beginning Death Squad Next Gen. Death Squad Next Gen is going to be another gigantic party. She's going to be in town. I know, Ray, I'm sure you're going to make this one.
Yeah, I think that's the one we have plans. We actually want to do like a GoFundMe or Kickstarter to try and get Keith out here too.
Well, let's get this thing to go. They will associate it with the Next Gen campaign, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And anybody listening here, Death Squad Next Gen is an opportunity for everyone to get together. And those that can't afford it, well, a couple of the hardcore OGs, maybe we can help them. You know, Jill's a dear friend, and dig this. If all of us got together, put together just $5 for Jill. Everybody listening, $5 for Jill. Okay, she's got a ticket.
Yeah.
Well, do that, and we get Keith next. Everybody listening and feel me, right? I don't ask for anything for me. I don't have a podcast. I don't sell anything. You know what I mean? All my pictures are free. Steal them. Put them on your T-shirt. I don't give a fuck. But this help our friends out. See what Death Squad has evolved to me, at least our community, is an opportunity to raise everyone else up, help everybody, and build an alternative culture outside society's mainstream. Yeah. And it begins by helping one another. And I will tell you, everybody that helped Yuck Nasty touched me. And those that didn't, they touched me too, if you feel me. Right? I was aware of everybody that reached out.
I think
that mattered to me.
I almost guarantee that everybody that reached out and touched you felt you. unless they're just a lot of touching and feeling. Their nerves don't work. But yeah. No, it was fucking the 24-hour podcast was epic. It's always something it's very unique and very, I don't know, I have a different perspective on it than anybody else, but it's everybody that I hear that participates in it. It's like, it's a very positive and powerful thing that they went through,
dude, it was a beautiful thing, and anything to help. Hey, anybody who knows me knows I was a single dad most of my life. Yuck is a single dad, and aside from knowing Yuck personally and loving him, the moment I heard that, I took it upon myself, personally. But our whole community can do this for each other. Yeah. We could create, just like there's this Bitcoin. We've got our own culture and community, and we could help each other no matter what. You feel me? Yeah. We can. And helping Jill or Keith get out here, quite honest, let me tell you, if you do good things, you'd be surprised what comes back to you. Yeah. You would be surprised the kind of just gifts that just show up in my life. Yeah. That's all I could say. But if you just give, and that's all I found, man, is giving, and the kind of, if you practice this one love and throw it out there, And for $5, dude, people smoke cigarettes. There's a pack a day. There's one pack of cigarettes. Help chill.
Yeah.
Feel me?
Or a pack of cigarettes and a Starbucks coffee and help Jill and Keith.
Fuck it. It could be done. It could be done. Everybody listening, if we want to do a dual campaign, we can, I've been known to be kind of okay at marketing things and coming up with conceptual ideas. So if Death Squad Next Gen can kind of blend into this, I certainly would do everything in my power to make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so we want to, in this period in the fall, is we want to have another get together after this Plan B winds down. We want to have this, and everybody listening, everybody, no matter what your affiliation, join this party and make it bigger. So when you go to a comedy show with us, we will be the audience. You feel me?
Yeah.
We will be the audience, and there's nothing better than going to a show with your friends and, or celebrating these people who have like-minded interests.
Yeah. Keith.
I think we lost Keith, but that's okay because I could pretty much talk through anything.
Yeah, man. And is that coinciding with the LA Podfest?
Yes, right? I think so. And I suspect there might be a very interesting podcast or two that we probably can get into. Hopefully we won't have to buy tickets, but we may. So and there'll be other events going on that week too. The weather in Southern California, in my opinion, in September and October is the best.
Oh yeah.
People think, July. No, July. The beach is overcast in July.
Yeah. No.
I look forward to September, right after Labor Day, when everybody leaves. September and October.
Yeah, because it starts to cool down. Like August is generally, even early September tends to be really hot, and like you get humid days too. It's kind of a shitty time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a good time because it starts cooling off. It's not like cold, but it's it's perfect weather. It's cool.
Perfect little window, yeah. And I think and the beaches are the prettiest then, so it'll be a good time. So yeah, that kind of covers what else is going on? We had our time capacity.
We can wrap it up.
Cool.
I don't know what happened.
No, I'm
to
cool,
Keith,
man.
But
I gave you 2 hours, man.
Man.
I said, hold my calls to my assistant.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you taking the time to tell your assistants to, know what the fuck is up with the show and all that. But
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, man. It was awesome having you on. Love to have you on in the future because it's always easy for me because you're good at talking and I love to listen to you talk because you're really passionate about what everything you talk about. It's not like you're just putting shit out there to push shit out there. Or you don't have a facade of you are who you are, and the energy that you have on the show or the 24-hour podcast or anywhere that you're ever at is the same energy you get when I met you in real life. Like when we met at the Ice House, It was like, whoa, this you have fucking a ton of energy, which is and you drink. I don't know. I'd be curious to see what you're like without energy drinks or weed. I don't know. It just seems. I don't know. I would imagine you're still just as energetic.
You'd be surprised though. My pulse when I'm talking to you, is about 45. That's the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't like I'm like inside. I'm super cool.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If like the motor's running like on super slow and and you hang out with me long enough, or do something with me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got a good gas tank.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And a lot of folks run out of gas.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I do think if you keep, it's kind of like a balloon. You keep training that gas tank or stretching it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it can perform. You know. So, hey, so what's going on new with your art? What are you creating? Because I always, I'm always curious.
Well, I'm still doing the Ray at Nights, a monthly show. I'm thinking of doing. I actually have a second show coming up. I think it's next month. I haven't put it in my calendar yet, and I haven't heard back from Ray at Night yet. So, but I should be doing. I like doing the monthly Ray at Nights, which is like a street fair in San Diego, and I get a 10x10 spot for my canopy. And I've been doing that, and just kind of getting back into the rhythm of creating new stuff. I've been doing a lot of like wood prints and selling my shirts, and I have my artwork there. My artwork's kind of like the bait to get people in. Because most people going to those shows aren't spending a lot of money on artwork, but they will spend a lot of money on like my prints and like the 40 sacks that I've been doing and things that are like more affordable. Those are doing well. So, but every once in a while I'll sell a painting, and I think Keith is actually back, but that's been doing good. So I've been
dig this.
Yeah.
Now, is this the dilemma of every artist? is the fine, not even the fine line, but many creative folks, when it comes to actually marketing and selling their work, there's and sometimes a spiritual collision. Do you feel me? That many artists, when they think, well, I'm creating it, but it feels almost crass or egotistical to push it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that. But many artists do. What I found I'm good at doing is not creating pictures, but getting people's shit seen. Now, I'll give this example of Adam Holcroft, cool Australian cat. I was talking to Tony Hinchcliffe about some ideas, right? This cat's reached out to me. He created a picture. I got it in Tony's hands. Tony printed it as a poster. It's him as like Bruce Lee, Game of Death, original art.
Nice.
Now this guy, because of his personality, probably would never like. I'm kind of a crass American capitalist in certain ways, right? When it comes to marketing, but not in a bad way, because it's my friend's stuff, not my own.
Yeah.
I think sometimes for an artist to hawk their own stuff can sometimes present for someone with an artist mentality. And I'm wondering if you face this.
From my experience, from how I come at it from like, I have to be two different people. When I'm making art, I have to be not thinking about anything. I just make whatever I'm making. And it's not necessarily when I'm making the prints, but when I'm like out doing photography, or if I'm at my computer doing digital work, or if I'm in front of the canvas painting, I get sucked into what I'm doing. I'm not thinking of how I'm going to sell it, what I'm going to sell it for, things like that. When I'm done with the piece and then I go to do prints of it, or I turn it into whatever, then it's a different part of me where it's like, how can I make the most money off of this piece of art, kind of a deal.
Now, but how about using the same creative mind? How will I market it with the same kind of muscles?
Feel
me?
Yeah.
But have you considered that as the same space in your brain? Now, I'm talking to you as a marketer, not as an artist.
Yeah.
But I believe that same space in your brain resides.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's in the same
for sure.
Spot.
It's weird applying that to.
This is the problem I'm talking to artists when I say, okay,
for sure. But for me, that's how I treat, like, I've always treated the Inspired Disorder like that. I've always treated Inspired Disorder Collective like that. I've treated the podcast like that. I treat these other projects, I treat them like art projects, and I let them change and grow and evolve. But I'm also an analytical person, so I also see where it's more advantageous to grow. Like, I try not to, with that, when you're creating art, it's all ego. It's all like, what do I want to portray? You're not thinking about anybody else but what you want to do. When you're doing business stuff or marketing stuff, you're trying to get in the minds of the people that would buy your shit, which is a totally different mindset. You totally have to let go of your ego and what you think the shit you're doing is worth, and what what your baggage is that goes with it. But that's just from my point of view, and I'm not the most experienced in the art world. But I know there's.
But you have that peaceful coexistence, or you have that duality. Maybe not peaceful, but you can kind of see what I've run into talking to even just beautiful artists. They're like, oh God, I don't want to. It would be crash for me to like get a Twitter account and put my shit out there. And I'm talking to people in my community. You know what I mean? Not people on Twitter. I'm like, oh really? I'm like, fuck. It's just a way to get it seen. And they're like, oh no,
it's free promotion.
But they're conflict, and it could be various ages. Some could be just super hip folks in their 20s. Oh no, I don't want to. But it's interesting because they were having this artistic conflict. Oh no,
it's because they're applying the same ego that they use when they create artwork to how they. It's like, I don't want to. I'm not selling. It's hard. It's hard for me to sell my own shit. But it's. At the same time, I'm just kind of starting, so I know I'm going to suck at it. Eventually, I'll get better at it. But my whole thing with the art world is like, you can do these little 10x10 shows, and which is good for like craft people and jewelry, and even what I'm doing with the prints and the 40 sacks, where it's, I'm able to create a lot of inventory to even sell it. But I'm not necessarily selling a lot of my original work. And then the next step is like getting into galleries, where people that buy art go to galleries because the galleries kind of cultivate art that is something that they enjoy. So if it's somebody that collects surrealist stuff, they're going to go to a different gallery that somebody likes to collect still life shit. So, but I don't necessarily. not only do I want to work for myself, but I want to figure out a way to sell my own artwork, which is just way more work for me to do. But at the same time, I have ultimate control over everything. And I'm not paying a gallery, upwards of 50% or 20% for each. Like, if I could find a way to do it on my own, which could be a very, that could be like super high hopes for what I might be trying to do. But at the same time, I'm new at it, so I don't mind. Like, I don't really have any, even though I have a lot of connections with galleries and I could probably get representation, I don't feel I'm creating enough original work to even warrant doing that right now. But at the same time, it's like, I'd also like to just explore and see if there's other venues that can make an artist able to sell art on their own terms rather than going through another system.
Yeah, exactly. It's that conflict, though. I ran into that. Or a woman, dig this. I like to drive around with a camera and take pictures of my community. And I was taking pictures of graffiti. This really beautiful piece on the back of this theater. And the woman who was the curator or the manager of it, she said, "Oh, you like my place? So why don't you come inside? Because we're a place where we're trying to be a real center place where we can I don't want to give her name out because I don't want to make it look bad, but they could do these events. You could do comedy there, and it's a nice little venue, and they have access to this big theater."
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. And where I live, there's a cool little arts community. It's a very old little section of LA. I mean, it's a really bitchin', actually. And she was an older Caucasian woman, probably maybe in her 60s, but sharp and intelligent, very artsy. And I was digging her facility, and I know the theater she has, and it's beautiful. And I said, "Oh, wow, this is beautiful. Are you guys on Twitter?" Her face went from friendly to angry.
Oh, no.
She looked at me and says, "We have a website, and we are on Facebook." And she went from like, "Hey, friendly co-artist, hey, we're broing out. We're talking about the culture and the architecture of our community." Yeah. This woman went from like friend to angry. And I wasn't telling her about my Twitter account. I was thinking, "Oh, this," and I said, "Hey, you guys do anything with Twitter? I think I believe this is a real effective way to get your message out."
Yeah.
And she just almost wigged on me. It's like she just went into a different zone and got angry. Like, because also too, for some folks, no matter what generation or class, you start talking Twitter, if they're not into Twitter, it's as if you're talking about a foreign language.
As if you're talking about podcasting to them.
Oh.
You're like, what the fuck is podcasting? But yeah, I know. It's, for me, I have an interesting perspective because I've always been into technology. I got into Twitter early. I love getting into new social networks to see what their capabilities are. It's like another type of creative process for me. But I've also saw the potential for it, just for free promotion. So, it's like anybody that's unwilling to change, or, people that still want to hand out their music by CD, it's like, I'm not going to play this shit. I don't think I even own a CD player at this point. It's like, you need to move on to a different way to distribute your shit and market your shit. And it's, I think it's an easy thing for a creative person to not have to take on that responsibility, and I it's one proof of its success is how it's changed comedy, like how podcasting and internet's changed just the audiences for podcasters and comedians. It's amazing, and you see their growth, and you see the benefit of it, and you could apply that to any art form, any creative person that's trying to promote what they're doing. And it's crazy that people don't even attempt to put the effort into it.
And dig this. I was talking to this woman looking at her venue going, wow, I'd like to do a little experimental live comedy venue in my area. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Make sure people make money. I make sure if people make money, it's very important, So if someone's going to come out here, they're going to get paid for their, they're going to make at least $500 for a show or whatever. But I was sizing on her place going, wow, we could have a small little comedy venue where, someone like Tony and a couple people could make a few bucks. They can make some money. And I'm looking at her place. But when I tried to tie this into Twitter, she freaked out. And it's like, well, for me, I was turned off to her. It's like I would never want to do a venue with someone who doesn't even want to consider Twitter, and there's 10 other places I could use. But talk about someone's mindset. She just limits herself to a whole audience. And again, as you said, this is free advertising.
Yeah.
It's free, But I think for her, though, it hurt her brain. Because that world, it was like, you're teaching me Greek? No. I don't even want to consider learning this.
Yeah.
And as we talked earlier about neuroplasticity, keeping your mind fresh.
Yeah.
I've always been into technology early. It keeps my dad, who's well into his 70s, has always been into technology. Whether it's cameras or, devices.
Yeah.
Always. It keeps your mind fresh. It keeps you in that bubble.
Yeah.
So I think you're looking at the clock.
No.
And we're right about that 90-minute mark.
All right. Cool, man. Well, where can everybody find all your awesome pictures? You post a lot of amazing, like, morning sunrise pictures from the beach, which I'm sure everybody from the Midwest despises you for, but it secretly loves you for it. Where can everybody find you on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff?
At Waterboxer. At Waterboxer. And at Waterboxer on Twitter, Instagram. And hey, anybody, like I say, if you want to come out for any of these shows with us, we have fun.
Man.
The Plan B week, consider it. The EBI June 1st, and look forward to Death Squad Next Generation this fall. It's going to be pretty sick. All right, and hey, thank you for the time. It's an honor to kind of be on the powerful IDC.
Well, thanks for coming on the IDP, Inspired Disorder podcast. But
I'm sorry. Hey,
it's what? It's all good. You got.
I was making up these
60
acronyms on the fly.
No, well, it's big ups to our collective as well. All the other podcasts that are part of the IDC. So it's it's all in the same family. So it's it's nothing to hate on. But
we
thanks
are
for
the
coming
IDP.
On. Yeah.
Which is a part of the IDC.
Yeah, it's I try to make all of my branding as confusing as possible, but
Excellent.
That's okay. I confuse you just enough to lure you in, and you're
have as many Twitter accounts as possible. So when I try to tweet out the Inspired Disorder Collective, what did I do, Keith, the other day? The wrong
Inspired Disorder updates,
IDC updates,
streamline.
Fuck yeah.
I was like,
diversify.
And what I said, I was like, it's cool either way.
Yeah,
but
it's like I don't care.
Ray, if you could make it up here for that show at the church on Wednesday, it's gonna be sick, man.
Dude, I'm gonna try and do that for sure. I definitely want to go up there when Jill comes out and hopefully get Keith out, and then I would love to go up there for when
all right, well, let's try to plan. Let's actually come up with a really when we're done with this podcast or some other time. Let's come up with a creative plan to get a fundraising for these cats.
For sure.
It will not be very difficult, in my opinion.
No.
Do you know what I mean? A good propaganda campaign for peace and things. People
use
respond
propaganda for good. Finally.
That's what I do is just propaganda for peace, or good things, and propaganda is not always bad.
No.
It influential, persuasive messages.
Exactly. Keith.
All right. Peace, everybody.
All right. Later. Keith,
Later.
Where can everybody find you on Twitter?
Keith Spurlock 1 on Twitter, or like I've said before, just Google Keith Spurlock because I am the first one that comes up.
The number one Google for there you go. Keith Spurlock. Google him. You'll find him. Do it. He encourages you to Google him every morning.
Google me too. Google Waterboxer. See what you
get.
There you go. You may be surprised.
Don't Google me. You can just find me at Ray Taylor on Twitter, Instagram, all that shit. Go to #shows.com. Check out all the comedians and their show times, where they're performing, and all that shit. #shows.com. Also, Jill Himitsu on Twitter. Go to InspiredDisorderCollective.com. Sign up. Be a part of the IDC community online. Yeah.
And may I make a point? The #show is the only approved official Death Squad show for calendars and events that is approved and acknowledged by Red Band. I just want to make that clear to everybody. Yeah. Everybody understand that. Anybody else out there is faking the funk, all right? All right, anybody out there is perpetrating and faking the fucking funk.
I don't think anybody's even trying to fake it anymore. I think they tried to fake it at one point, but it lasted only a week or two, and they're like, oh, we got to, update this shit.
And now it just links to...
Yeah, well, yeah, if you go to...
enough said, you know what I'm saying?
If you go to deathsquad.tv, the calendar takes you to #shows.com,
Correct.
the official calendar.
And everyone should know that. And whether you've heard it here, I've heard it straight from the man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, that's all I'm gonna say. You know, sitting down in Death Squad East, smoking a blunt.
Boom.
I asked him that question.
Absolutely.
#shows is the only official. Everyone heard that from me. All right. Anything else is derivative or a troll site or whatever, and and they're faking the funk. All right. I just want to make that clear to everybody. That's what Plan B is about. That's what the next generation's about. It's about positivity, and people are out there to help each other and not promote themselves. All right. One love.
Boom. And go to inspireddisorder.com where you can check out all of my artwork. Wood prints, 40 sacks, fine art, drawings, all that shit. If you want to buy anything in Diseasy shirts, I'm actually working on a new shirt design as well. If you want to save 10% on anything in the store, use coupon code INSPIRED at checkout, and you will save 10%. You will do that. It will happen for you. You'll save money, and I will make money, and everybody will be happy. Keith will be happy. Won't you be happy, Keith?
I'll be so happy.
Keith will be happy. Proof positive.
I'll be so happy.
All right, everybody. Boom.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. Embedded signals within this podcast have reprogrammed your natural thinking patterns. Side effects may include lack of inhibitions, erectile dysfunction, anal leakage, transcendental communication with beings from 4 of the 7 primary dimensions. In the event of a tear in space-time, please keep your hands down and feet together. Any loss of life or limbs due to interdimensional travel is not the responsibility of this podcast.